how do you set this up? Well, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And you kind of want to, mess it around a little bit, just like any software. So if you have any experience with private label products and like Jungle Scout, you kind of want to play around with this, and you kind of want to get different looks of books that other people might not be seeing. And you also want to keep it, you want to kind of go real specific and then slowly broaden out your search results. So to give you an example of how I'm going to set this up, and it's literally different every single time, right? So that I'm always seeing different books. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go max publish date, like 2008, right? I'm also going to go max sales rank of like, let's go, didn't mean to do that. That was on the wrong one. So max published or max rank will go like 1,999, right? So a perfect example of that is like, instead of going 200,000, why don't you go like 199,000 so that you're seeing all the other books that somebody just putting in 200,000 wouldn't see, right? So you're seeing like a potential 100 other books. So let's go 199,000 right here in the, messed that up, wrong one again. I'm all over the place this morning. Oh my. Stick with me, guys. So we have max rank now 199,000, max publish date 2017, and a minimum publish date of 2018. Obviously no minimum rank. So used offers, there's going to be no limit on the max, no limit on the max for me. Minimum used offers, we'll set it to like one minimum used offer and like, I don't know, 12 max used offers, right? So new offers will go 9 and we'll go 1. So actually, you know what? Let's broaden it a little bit. So we'll go 12. So now max trade-in value will go like $5 for trade-in value, because that basically indicates that if it's a textbook potentially, and you're not always sourcing textbooks. I've sold plenty of other books that aren't textbooks that are profitable, right? But because it's the end of Q4 and we're about to move into textbook season, I'm definitely buying a lot of textbooks as my inventory because I know that they will sell for a ridiculous margin at the end of Q4 and into textbook season in the spring, okay? So I want a max trade-in value of at least $5 potentially. Sometimes I make that 3, sometimes I make it 12, sometimes I make it 15. Like I said, I switch it up every time to get different looks of different books that the software is going to spit out to me, okay? So the whole thing behind the trade-in value is if you put a little bit of trade-in value, it still makes sure that your book is current, right? Because there's still a trade-in value for it. Then it's still being used in some place, right? In some college, there's still a potential variation or version of that book that is being used, and it's not completely outdated, right? Because the worst thing that you could potentially do, well, not the worst thing, because you could always return it potentially, but one of the worst things you could do is buy a version of a book that's outdated that nobody uses anymore, hence also the minimum and max publish date, okay? So if you don't understand that, it's fine, but that's just play around with these numbers, you'll get better at it, okay? So max Amazon price, we'll say like the minimum Amazon price, we'll say like $33. Say minimum new price is $33. We'll also say that the limit is like $405, $405 listed as new. We'll say the max used price, minimum used price, we'll say 50 cents. Let's go dollar. Max use price will say like if the minimum use price is 33, we'll say max use price of like 9, right? Boom. Now we have everything, so we're gonna spit it out right here and hit search and see what it pulls up for us. All right, so those search parameters were a little too specific, so it didn't really spit too many books out for us. So I kind of went out and adjusted them a little bit. I dropped the offers all the way up to a max because obviously if I had more time to do this by myself, right, or sit here and source by myself, I'd play around with them to get specific numbers so that I could see good products that I haven't seen before. But just for the sake of kind of demonstrating how this software spits out potential book leads to you, I just want to give you an example really fast. I dropped the minimum price all the way down to 0, and I dropped the max price all the way up to 20. I also added no limit to the offers right here, so just a little bit of a change, okay? So, and also dropped the max trade-in value down to 3. So obviously, in the future, if you're doing this, you can kind of make them a little bit more specific slowly and then hone it in that way if you want to, and then search that way. All right, so it spit out a good number of books. So just like I said right here, one of the best ways that you can utilize this software is you want to click this right here. And one of the best things too is you'll notice that some of them are green and some of them are like gray. So see how this one's gray and this one's still green? That means that I've clicked this one and I've already checked it out. So that's one of my favorite things about this software is it's already going to tell you that you've looked at this book so you don't want to do it again. So let's scroll all the way up. Let's check out Adobe Photoshop Lightroom CC book. So this one might be a good one. We're going to click the link and it's going to take us to Amazon, right? So there's two ways to basically source this, like I said before. So if we keep this page open, and we open this in a new tab because we're interested in the buy box prices, right? So 2 ways, like I said before, I'll give you the brief one of used really fast, and then we'll hop into the new sourcing. So with the used, you'll see that there's both a used and a new buy box. So the used buy box is currently at a used good condition, and it sells for 22 bucks. But see here, if you go back to the original page, there's somebody also selling a merchant fulfilled book right here as used good. So they're fulfilling it by merchant, and they're only selling it for like, what is that, like $9, $9.50. So there's a potential profit margin there of 12 bucks to be made if you can buy it from this seller, ship it into FBA, and then sell it for 22 bucks, right? So I always ship a number of books in at once. I'm never just shipping this book into FBA. If you just ship one book into FBA, it's going to end up costing you like $4 or $5 per book because it costs you like $4 or $5 to ship a box in, right? But if you ship like 10 or 50 books in at once, then it's practically going to negate the shipping cost. I think I just made up a word. It's going to negate the shipping cost because you're shipping so many books in at once, so then it might end up costing you like 20 cents a book or like 50 cents a book. So that makes a huge difference in your cost, right? So I'm going to hit the AMZ Scout calculator here, and we're going to try to run these numbers. This still isn't working for me. It's kind of pissing me off. So it hasn't been working recently, so I have to look into why this plugin stopped working. So I'll just pull up the FBA calculator right here, and we're going to run through an example of whether or not this would be a profitable used book to do, right? So let's take the ISBN, and we're going to take it into Seller Central to see if we can sell it. So can we sell it? And we can sell it in new and collectible and used conditions. So with books, and this is a mistake I made initially, so I'm not perfect, I make mistakes too. I thought that books were a completely ungated category because they've always practically been that you could resell any book. Now, that is usually the case with about 99.9% of books. However, that said, there are some books that are like really, really low rank that you are gated to sell. So just make it a habit of always checking if you can sell it, regardless of the online arbitrage business model. Even though 99.9% of the time with books, you will be able to sell it. But just check so that that one-off potential case, you're aware, okay? So we can sell it. Now it's taken into FBA, and we'll take that same ISBN into the FBA calculator because we don't have the freaking plugin that just pops up on the page some reason. So let's select it, and this is just going to give us an indicator of the potential costs that they're gonna have for keeping this into FBA, so we know if it's a profitable item, right? And I probably will barely make any money buying this used for whatever that is. So $525. Let's add it up really fast because that's going to be relevant. So let's slide this over really fast. So we have $525 plus $3.99 for shipping plus 56 cents for tax, and then it ends up costing us $9.80. So if we come back, the cost of our product is going to be $9.80, right, to ship it into FBA. The ship to Amazon, I'm going to estimate like 50 cents, even though it'll probably be a lot cheaper than that because I'm going to ship like 50 books in at once. I just sent a recent shipment. It was like 87 books, and it was practically negated the cost. So I think it was 3 boxes, 87 books total, and every single book ended up being like 10 cents a book. It was super cheap. So back to this now. What's the item price? It was $22 if we sell it from the new used buy box, which we can obviously match the price and potentially share the buy box because they're both going to be used good conditions, and my seller metrics are good. Seller metrics don't play a huge part in getting the buy box. It's more about price and availability to the customer. So if you match the price and you also have it into FBA as somebody else does, your availability to the customer is going to be relatively similar. Your price is going to be the same, so chances are you will share the buy box for the majority of the time, okay? So the price is, I already forget that, is 22 bucks. So let's see if we're then profitable. And we're profitable, but only by 85 cents. So it's clearly not worth it to buy this book as used from this seller right here and resell it and ship it into FBA to sell it for 22 bucks, right? Now, sometimes there'll be a bigger discrepancy, so this will be cheaper, right? The cheapest used book will be cheaper, and the buy box will be higher, right? And then there's obviously a better margin there, so that might be a way that you want to go do it. That's a perfect example of sourcing it as used. So instead, we're going to actually see if this is a profitable book to source new. So then we're concerned with the buy box new price, which is 36 bucks, right? So same thing. If you come back into the same listing right here on eFlip and you come down to the bookfinder right here, it's basically attached to bookfinding software that's going to shoot out all the potential sale prices across the web, right? And that's a great resource to have, so you can see if you can buy this for cheaper potentially and then ship it into FBA and resell it. So you'll also see over here it's going to list you the used books and all the prices and where they're potentially selling at. So that's another great way you can check if you're going used books. But I'm interested, like we talked about, with the new books. So over here, somebody's selling it on eBay for $21.99. It looks like somebody's selling it for $25.94, etc., etc., etc. Now, you always want to make sure with new books that you're not buying an international edition. So always read the description to make sure that it's not an international edition. Sometimes it will be international, and then avoid that. I've talked about that in the past. But for the majority of books that you're sourcing through, just check if it's an international edition or not, okay? If it's not an international and doesn't say anything about that, then you're allowed to resell it. So just check, just like I said, just like checking to see if you can sell it, just go through that as a rule of thumb to make sure. Not saying it will happen to you, but you always just want to make sure, okay? So this is probably not profitable. You're going to buy it for $21.99. It only resells back for $36, so let's change these then. If the item price is $36, it costs us another 50 cents to ship it into FBA, and our cost of the product is $21.99. It's probably going to tell us that we're not profitable if we calculate, and we are still profitable, but again, 56 cents, so not worth it. So let's X out of those then, and I'll take you through another example. We're going to sort through one more right here really fast, and we'll see if it's profitable, but obviously there are a number of other books to sort through here. So what I like to do is I'll just put in some good music, or, you know, if there's like 10-15 minutes where like I'm bored on a Sunday. Usually I do this a lot on Sundays, right, when I'm watching football and I'm watching Red Zone. I love it. I'll set my computer up on the table, pop Red Zone on, watch Red Zone, source a bunch of books, and I'm probably, you know, 20 books deep on a Sunday just buying books, and it's a great kind of way to make money while I'm enjoying my football Sunday, okay? So whenever you have free time, sort through a couple books, right? If you want to turn this into a full-time business, then obviously you can sort for hours if you want to, but I just kind of like to do it sporadically, and I'm probably buying anywhere from like 5 to 10 books a day, you know, but those margins, like I showed you before, can be all the way up to $150 depending. Now, they're not always $150. Some of them are lower. Some of them are like $10. Some of them are $5. Some of them are $20. But the majority of books that I'm buying from eFlip are usually really good margins. So let's try one more really fast. We're going to click this again, and it's going to take us here. So is there an opportunity to buy it used and resell it as used, or is there an opportunity to buy it new and resell it as new? Let's check it out. So it looks like the used price right here is about, what is that? Like almost $15, because this is almost, so, or that's not 15, I can't add. What is that? 11, I can't do math today, almost $12. So let's open up this other tab because we're interested in the buy box prices, right? So the used buy box is $18.97, so there's probably not a margin there to buy it from this seller right here at, you know, $12 and then ship it into FBA for $18. I probably won't net anything. I might even lose a little bit of money. So you can't buy it as used, it looks like right there, but can you buy it as new? And keep in mind that you can also sort through this, like I'm going to show you in a second. You can go to Bookfinder and see if there's a better opportunity to buy it used on another marketplace, which I rarely do that. It looks like somebody's selling it on eBay for $10.11, so it's a little bit cheaper, but still probably not a good margin. I'll take it in just to show you anyway. Although you'll get better at kind of seeing ahead of time, so you don't have to waste your time with this. I already know it's either going to net me practically nothing again, or I'm going to lose money on it. But let's just check for the sake of showing you really fast before we check the new. So used buy box price is $18.97. Shipped to Amazon will estimate 50 cents, but like I said, it's usually cheaper than 50 cents, and my cost of the product if I buy it on eBay is $10.11. So $10.11 then. Am I going to make any money or not after fees? I'm actually going to lose $169 after fees, so that's a bad product, right? So same thing goes. Let's reboot this. I don't know why I just went back. I didn't have to do that. I also want to check with that ISBN if I can even sell it first, because if I can't sell it, none of this matters. So I can sell it in new collectible and used conditions. Always go through that as a part of your checklist. So now we're interested in the buy box new price. And the buy box new price is about $101.32. So let's go check to see if there's an opportunity here. And it looks like there is. This is a great opportunity. So I'm probably going to buy this book if it checks out. So on eBay, boom. Somebody's selling it for $29.99. It doesn't say anything about potentially having it as an international edition, so let's click the listing and check it out. And it's going to take us to the listing. Is this an international edition? I don't see anything international. I don't see anything international, and obviously I had to read through this really fast to make sure, so I'm going to do that after this, but I'm not going to read through it on the, right here, right now to, basically waste your time, but I'm obviously going to make sure, always check to see if there's anything in there that says international edition. It doesn't look like this is, so this looks like it's a good product, so $29.99, so then if I sell it, and we search that again, right, that's the same book, right, it is. We search that again. So the item price, then if I sell it as new and ship it into FBA to get the new buy box, is $101.32. So $101.32. Shipping to FBA is going to stay 50 cents. And then our cost of product, I believe, was $29.99. It was $29.99. Boom. So let's see what we're going to make. Perfect example right here. I rest my case. So you're going to make about $50 margin on this if you buy it for $29.99. Ship it into FBA and sell it and match the buy box price at $101.32. I'm going to buy this as soon as this video ends. It's a perfect example of another book, and it might not sell right away. Another thing to keep in mind is the potential bestseller rank of a book, right? But if you're setting your eFlip software up to, relatively low on max rank, you don't really need to worry about it, but I always tell people you can really go up to books all the way up to 1 million bestseller rank, but keep in mind that you're going to be sitting on them for a while, right? So if you want to flip books faster, maybe stay underneath 250,000, or if you really want to wait on a book for like a couple weeks, maybe go up to like 500,000. But I'd keep it obviously just like any other form of arbitrage. The lower bestseller rank indicates more potential sales. Now, books sell more frequently, right? So a 200,000 rank in books is going to sell a lot more than a 200,000 rank, which is practically selling nothing in another category, right? So it's a different thing, but like I said, the more you source, the better you'll get at it. So what's the bestseller rank of this one? 91,000. It's obviously selling very well. And if Jungle Scout's working, which clearly my Google Chrome has stopped working, it's just frustrating with me, and I'm going to have to figure out how to fix that. But it's clearly selling very, very well, so this will flip fairly quickly. So perfect example of a good book that you can buy using the eFlip software. I would have never found this if eFlip didn't spit this out for me. It was literally the second one. So if I wasn't creating this tutorial right now, I would have found that in like a minute, and boom, I've already made $50 in like a minute just buying this, shipping into FBA. Super, super simple. And that's just one example of books, guys. You can scale this up to the max.